Your feel-good breakfast here, Expresso on SABC3. Now, the discovery of liquid water underneath Mars's southern polar ice cap by the Mars Advanced Radar for Subsurface and Ionosphere Sounding, or MARSIS for short, has got scientists abuzz and reinvigorated to find out if there is indeed life on the planet. Now, we've long known that Mars once had flowing water on its surface, but only ice remains at the South Pole ice cap. Now, Professor of Planetary Geoscience at the Open University, David Rothery, joins us from the UK to tell us more about this information, and it truly is quite an exciting thing. So, David, I've got to ask you, when you found out about it, what were your first thoughts?
Well, it's a story that's been a little bit overblown, to be honest. We thought there were lakes underneath Mars's South Polar ice cap 2 or 3 years ago, the first signs. Now, a paper from Nature Astronomy published a couple of weeks ago now confirms that the strong radar reflections we were getting from below the ice cap almost certainly do come from bodies of liquid water. So we've firmed up the evidence for these lakes. It's not a new discovery, it's confirmation, but we were thinking along the right lines before.
And when we talk about liquid water, is this water as we know it here on planet Earth?
Well, yes, it's H2O, the chemical formula for water, but it's probably got all kinds of salts dissolved in it. Probably not mostly sodium chloride like you get in the sea on Earth, but perchlorates and chlorates, more oxidized salts. So it'd be quite nasty water. If you were to drink it, it would go right through you. It would give you a real good purge. So not good for drinking for humans. But it doesn't mean that microbes couldn't live in it, and that's why people are excited. Yeah. It's a habitat where life could exist today.
All right. Now, there's no flowing water on the surface of Mars anymore, but there is underneath its surface. So why is that so?
Okay, well, the problem with Mars is it's very cold, but sometimes at midday it does get above 0 degrees centigrade. But when that happens, the atmospheric pressure is so slight, but liquid water is not stable. It will just go straight to vapor. It will boil away, or the ice will just turn straight to vapor. So liquid water is not stable at the surface, not enough atmosphere to keep it in a liquid state. But below an ice cap, you've got the weight of a kilometre or more of ice, providing enough pressure to stop the water boiling away. So when it's warm at the base of the ice cap, liquid water can form and will stay there indefinitely because the pressure of the overlying ice keeps it liquid.
Now, we also have a famous lake situated deep underground in Antarctica, Lake Vostok. Is it comparable to the lakes that have been discovered in Mars, and what can be inferred about Mars from our own Lake Vostok?
Well, Lake Vostok is one of now over 400 or nearly 400 lakes known under the ice in Antarctica. It was the first and biggest to be discovered. And of course, you don't need the weight of the ice to keep water in a liquid state in Antarctica, but it does have to be warm enough for water to be liquid. And the thing about Lake Vostok is it's been isolated from the surface of the Earth, from the atmosphere, for many millions of years, and there's excitement about if there could be an ecosystem, if there could be organisms living down there, cut off from the atmosphere, sustained by chemical energy, some kind of reaction between the water and the rock. And studies of this are still going on. There's been attempts to drill into the lake, but it's difficult to drill down into the lake without the lubricant that you use to keep the drill moving freely from getting into the lake and destroying the environment. So There's a bit of a mess going on down there in Antarctica. But if life can exist in Lake Vostok, hey, why can't it exist in these lakes on Mars? But the salts dissolved in the water on Mars are probably very, very different. It's mostly fresh water in Lake Vostok, but these nasty chlorates and perchlorate salts in Mars, we think. But that doesn't mean that microbes can't live there.
Yeah. Now, a question that gets asked again and again when such news is released is, what does this new information mean, or this confirmation of information mean for the existence of life currently or perhaps previously on Mars?
It tells us nothing about life previously on Mars, but the logic behind scientists' thinking currently is Mars clearly had a much warmer and wetter environment in the past at the surface. Life of simple kinds familiar from Earth could have existed on Mars in the past. The surface environment now is very, very hostile. Lots of solar radiation, not much atmosphere, very hard for liquid water to exist. But if life did get going, where could it be hanging on now? And underneath the ice caps on Mars seems like a good place where life could be hanging on if it ever got going in a distant past when conditions were more favorable for life. We haven't proved life on Mars. We've just found a place where it's worth going to look to see if there's any life there, because life could exist there. It's the right kind of environment.
And indeed, who knows what we could find. David Rothery, thank you very much once again for joining us.
You're welcome.
That is David Rothery, Professor of Planetary Geoscience at the Open University. And it's always great to hear what is being unearthed in space, so to speak, and we can't wait to hear more on these developments.